Hello, good morning. Welcome, peeps. So this is a get ready with me special edition weekly wrap up. You guys are getting the get ready with me part right now. So I'm going to get this fro done in some twists or braided or something or another. So I figured it would be another fun time to you know, take you guys along with me, see the craziness become something new, because in my weekly wrap up my hair will be completely different. So I figured I'd take you on the journey with me. So here we go. So the hair journey is over. Back where I started in my bathroom. My husband is making fun of me because I just couldn't keep my hands out of it. But at the same time, I completely forgot how heavy having braids is and having it on top of your head. So yeah, so that is my hair journey for this time and this portion of the Get Ready With Me. Hope you guys enjoyed it, seeing a little bit of footage of how my hair got done. And off to my weekly wrap up. Hello and welcome to my channel. Why am I saying that welcome? Because you guys have been watching my Get Ready With Me, but for those of you that decided to use the timestamp down below, this is the second half of the Get Ready With Me Week 8 weekly book wrap up. Talk today. I don't know why, but yeah. So quick little tidying up here. Of course, you guys know that this is the second half of the Get Ready With Me / Week 8 weekly wrap up, and I'm gonna quickly go over some little things from the Get Ready With Me, and then I will get into the books. Like always, make sure you check the description box so you guys can, if there's something you want to skip to specifically, you can use the timestamps down below. Make sure you always like and subscribe, of course. It just happens to be on the top of my head today to remind you of that now instead of at the end of the video, which I'll do again. But yeah, so you guys see that I got my hair done. I got it braided. It was an amazing experience. Oh my goodness. When I was younger and in the military, I used to get my hair braided all the time because that was just the easiest way to, you know, take care of my hair, put it up, and, you know, get it out of my face, have a no nonsense sort of hairdo, and I absolutely love it. My husband was laughing at me all of yesterday after I got it done because I was like, look at my hair. every single time he decided to turn around, I was like flipping it, or I had my phone out to take a new picture because I had done something different with it. Even in a crazy messy bun, it's super cute. I just love this hairstyle. So usually before, it took like 8 to 10 hours to even think about doing micros. Now these are Senegalese twist. For those that know anything about hair, there is a little bit of a difference. I went in between getting these twists and getting box braids, but I wasn't exactly sure, so I went ahead and got the Senegalese twist, and I am so happy that I did, because these are super cute. I was real worried about them coming apart, but they have assured me that their twisting style is on point, and I must say it is, because it only took them approximately 3 hours, or just over 3 hours, to do my whole entire head. Oh my goodness. And it doesn't hurt. Ugh. Normally I have to take a leave before, or some migraine medicine before I go get my hair done. I forgot to do that, so I was like, oh, I was a little worried about it. But then I got home and I had no issues. The only thing that I forgot about when I get my hair braided, or when I get braids like this, is how heavy they are. So my neck is getting a little bit of a workout, making sure that I stay straight and stuff like that. But other than that, I am loving these things, because there are so many styles that you guys are going to be seeing in the upcoming, few weeks that I'm going to be doing with these, because they're fabulous. So let's get to what I read last week, and that was 7 different books. So we'll get to it. The first book that I read last week was The Last Letter by Rebecca Yarros, and I placed this in Contemporary. I give it 5 stars. There are 4 Steam fans, and I read this as an arc. Oh my goodness. So, little backstory, and you guys probably saw it in my mini sort of review for this book, because I read it, I placed it into Contemporaryathon as well, because I read it in enough time to read it then. So let's go back and revisit those feelings and emotions, because this book is so very special. Even though I'm not going to tell you guys a lot about what it is, because I think you should go into it blind. I think that if you know that you have a military connection, or you're a parent, you should make sure you have tissues. And I'm not talking military connection like, oh, my friend, went in, or a friend of a friend went in. No, I'm talking about if you have a spouse, or a loved one, or you are a spouse, or you were in the military. Those are the people that I'm directing this to, because I think those are the people that are going to be so emotionally connected with this book that, whoo, it's going to tear them apart. And then on top of that, if you're a parent, woo-wee. And no offense to people that take on parentship later on in life, where their kids are older, so they don't get to see that younger sort of stage. I'm talking about parents that birth their children and see it from that point of view. And I commend those that, foster and adopt and things like that. But when you birth a child, when that child is given to you at that very moment that they take breath and come into this world, it is a completely different experience, I think. And this book touches on some very, very, very emotional and gut-wrenching moments of being a parent and being that family member that is connected to the military. So, yeah. I'm just so emotionally I was drained from this book. Luckily, I finished it the last day of Contemporaryathon, so I had to get a weekly wrap-up done, and I didn't have a real need to read another book because, yeah, I just couldn't. Now, there is a romance within this book, but I think the romance of the book, it is probably, I wouldn't say that it's secondary, because it is very much part of the story. It is very much a driving force of the story. But, whew, I just don't know. I mean, yeah. I went and I read some of the other reviews for this book, and there are some people that are legit not happy with some of the things that happen in this book. And I sort of get that. I get that point of view, but at the same time, the author, Rebecca, does an amazing job at explaining why things happened and, you know, how they all sort of fit together. And I just thought it was just amazing. This, oh, I can't wait to see Rebecca again at a Polycon so that I can give her a big old hug, because this book was like everything. It's definitely going to be up on the list. I can already foresee at the end of the year. And we're only in February. The next book that I read was When Life Happens by Jewel E. Ann. I placed this in New Adult. I give it 3.75 stars. I give it 3 Steam fans. I listened to it as an audiobook. And this book was very interesting because I read it for Contemporary, or I tried to read it for Contemporaryathon, but I didn't get it finished for Contemporaryathon. And this book follows Parker, Gus, and Sabrina. Parker is a woman that was cheated on by her twin sister. And then the twin sister ends up marrying Parker's ex-boyfriend, and Parker moves back home and then moves out, but only across the street to their family plot or family house. And she's very close to her family and everything like that, except for her sister, because she cheated with her boyfriend. So that was a little difficult in the beginning. And then you have enter Gus and Sabrina, who are also neighbors in this neighborhood. Sabrina is sort of this disconnected wife to Gus, and Gus starts lusting after Parker. So yeah, there's that. Then there's some other things that happened. The only reason I'm giving it 3.75 stars is because of those other things, and I don't want to talk about the other things because then it would spoil it. But yeah, in the beginning, I was really ready to DNF this book because of Parker, Gus, and Sabrina. I didn't like them as characters, and I wasn't a fan. I just wasn't. But I kept reading because everyone that I know in the book world that has read this book has either said that they really liked it and that I should just keep going. The author also was like, oh, there's, you know, something coming. And I was like, okay, I'm going to go ahead and hang in there. You know, she took the time out of her day to post that I should go ahead and keep going. So I went ahead, kept going. And in the end, like I said, 3.75 stars is not that bad. On Goodreads, I did put it at 4, I believe, because it was close enough to a 4-star book that I don't hate it. I'm not gonna like trash it for the subject matter, but at the same time, I'm like, I had some problems with it. The next book that I read was Pride, The Elite 7 #2 by J.D. Hollyfield. This is a dark romance in the series of dark romances about a secret society. Now, I gave this one 4.25 stars and 5 Steam fans. I read it as an ARC. As soon as I got it, I was like, oh, I got to know, because the end of Lust was magnificent. And I was just like, I got to know what's going on. And this book follows Mason, who is the deadly sin of pride, and his story is very gut-wrenching. And we're back in New Orleans, and there was a good amount of this book that is sort of interweaving with what you already know if you have read Lust, which I definitely think you should. I think you should read this in order, because there are some things that are starting to do that. Oh, that's how that's connected. Oh, that's how that's connected. And I felt myself doing that throughout most of this book, and then there were some, the ending was a little bit of, you know, some more reveal, and I'm like, ooh, I got to get these new books, and I can't wait for the rest of the series to come out. Wrath is next, and I can't wait to get my hands on it because I need to know some answers. Some answers need to be told to me. I need them. I need them. I need them. And I believe Wrath is being written by an author that I have not read yet, so I'm really excited about that. The next book that I read was The Half-Truth by Leddy Harper. I placed this in New Adult, and I give it 4 stars. I give it 3 Steam fans. I read it as an arc, and this book follows Tatum and Jason. Tatum is a chef that is left by her fiance on her birthday. She's quirky, she's different, and I really enjoyed her. And Jason is this engineer that is moving from Nevada, from Las Vegas, Nevada, back home to his hometown, which is a small sort of place, to sort of get away from his ex that wants him to stay, but she doesn't want to move from Nevada. So, yeah. So, I enjoyed this book, but it's not my favorite of Leddy Harper's. She likes to give me a little bit of angst and, you know, twist it in with the quirky, and I appreciate that. But this book, I was like, I'm going to need these 2 characters to work their shit out. Work it out and get to it. And then there were some of the things that they did, I just didn't rub me the right way and things like that. But overall, I did enjoy this book. The next book that I read was Because of You by Jenika Snow, and this is an erotic short story. I give it 4 stars. I give it 4 Steam fans, and I listened to it on the podcast of Read Me Romance. Read Me Romance. Yes. I'm bringing it back. I'm bringing back the singing because you guys said you like the singing. So you find joy in my Read Me Romance jingle cover. There we go. So this book follows Sutton and Catherine. This is a stepbrother / stepsister short story. It was everything that was promised, and it was flaming hot. And Tessa's intro to chapter 1 was so spot on. I mean, I should have known by the topics that Mel, Leah, and Tess were talking about that that's what we were going to get into, but then to have it connect, I was like, woo, you find a little piece of yourself in that first chapter, if you can connect with what they were talking about to the first chapter. So yeah, I'm just going to leave it at that. I enjoyed it. It is that thing that I appreciate. I know some people don't like the fact that Jenika Snow and Alexa Riley, they put out so many books and they're shorts, and, you know, they say that they're formulated and things like that. You know what? I love it. I love it. I'm down for it because they're palate cleansers to me, and I appreciate that. If I'm looking for something super fast and sexy and giving it to me, I'm going to go and find an Alexa Riley book that I haven't read and get up on that. That's just going to happen. Now I have Jenika Snow that I will be doing the same with because this book was steaming hot, even though it was a little taboo. The next book that I read was Black Enough, and this was by a variety of Black YA authors, and this is a YA anthology. I give this book 3.5 stars. I actually only read 3 of the stories out of the anthology already. And I have it as a physical book. So the reason I am going ahead and giving the review about this now is because I'm setting this book aside. Even after those 3 stories, I do appreciate the 3 stories that I read, but at this moment, I am finding that this anthology is not something that I can just sit down and read through, because each of the stories are very different. So the first story that I read was about blended families, about how even if one of your parents moves on and starts a new family, you know, that half-brother or that half-sister or that stepsister or that stepbrother can be your family if you allow it. The second story was about code switching. So for those that don't know what code switching is something that I think everyone does, but definitely people in the African American community have to do. It's a way of life. And you see it more prevalent in the African American community because there are so many stereotypes that are placed upon us that we have to carry ourselves in a different way in different situations. So this story follows a young African American boy that finds himself being different when he is with his black friends, and then when he is placed or is introduced into a majority white situation or community social situation, he finds that he acts a little differently, and his friends pretty much call him on it. I understood the story and I see where it was trying to go, but at the same time I think that that's normal way of life. That's just from my experience, and it's infuriating in some ways, but it's not just with the black community that has to do that. Is it more noticeable with the black community? Yes. Quite possibly, yes. It is. Because I may come off on camera as one way, but if you meet me in person, I may be a different person in different social situations. The way I act at work while I am in my professional mode is completely different than what I am when I am with my friends and my social confines and things like that. When I am at signings, I am completely different there too, because it's not an act, or it's not, as they say, code switching. It's adapting to your situation and being your best self is what I think about that. So there's that. And then the third story that I read was a story about a young black female that is wanting to be an artist, but her family is a legacy in this predominantly white elite boarding school, and she has to produce a project that is a representation of herself. Well, when she does it, she actually does not sign the work, and a white female in her class that is trying to be the best as well takes credit for it. So it goes back to that whole taking credit for African American people's work by the white community. And I felt this book a little bit more just because of not necessarily the part of taking credit, but for the part of the family aspect of it, because the daughter was trying to please her father, was trying to please her mother, was trying to please her family, doing what she thought they wanted her to do, and in the end, you know, there had to be some communication. So there's that. And then the final book that I read last week was Goldie, Vance, Volume 1 by Hope Larson, and this is a middle grade graphic novel. I really enjoyed it. I gave it 4 stars. There are 0 Steam fans because it's middle grade, and like I said, it was a graphic novel. It is also a middle grade mystery. This book follows, or this volume is, you are introduced to Goldie, who is a amateur detective in her family's hotel sort of business. Well, actually, it's not her family. It is another person's family, but she works there. She's a valet, and on the side, she likes to do detective work and things like that. So there's a mystery. Something is taken, and she has to solve the mystery. It is Afrocentric, and I loved it. I really enjoyed it that the main, you know, Goldie was an African American and her father was African American. Now, there was a little bit of undertones for the possibility of institutionalized racism, and how the owner of the hotel is white and his daughter is kind of a, ooh, words that I should not use for a middle grade story. But in the end, I really enjoyed it, and I can't wait to get to the other 3 volumes that I have. My son has actually started reading this graphic novel as well. He was all excited when I finished it. He was like, "Are you done, Mom? It's about time you're done. Can I get to it?" So yeah, that was really fun, and I really enjoyed it. This is obviously going to be a very long video because now I am into my current reads that I am currently reading, and some of these are things that I will be reading or that I'm actually reading right now, and will be reading for this week because they are arcs and I got to get through them, got to get to them. So the first book that I am currently reading is The Hunter by Kerrigan Byrne, and I'm about 50% through this book. This book follows Christopher and Millie. Christopher is an assassin. It is a historical romance with lots of sass and craziness that's going on. They're rebels and they're shunned people that have made their way in life and have come up, and now they have status and stature, and yeah. So Christopher is hired to kill Millie, and there is a huge mystery around that, and I'm enjoying that. I am reading this for Romanceopoly for the Austen Row space. The next book that I am also reading is Tumble by Locke, and this is an arc. I am about 10% into this. I have now met Neely, who is a sports journalist who mysteriously has left her job in New York and has returned to her hometown, small town of Dogwood Lock. I think it's Dogwood Lock. I'm not exactly sure. She has a little explaining to do because I'm like, what is going on? She's now talked to her best friend twice, I think it is, or talked to her as she was rolling into town and sort of describing the town of how small it is and how quaint it is and things like that. Well, she has just stepped into the coffee shop to get some coffee and ran into an ex-flame, obviously, named Dane. And I'm looking forward to finding out what's going on with Dane, because Dane has green eyes, and I love me a man with some green eyes, man. Man. Yes. Yes. So we're looking forward to find out what their past is and how everything fits and how cute this book shall be. Hopefully it's cute and not too angsty, but we'll see. The other book that another book that I'm reading is A Taste of Pleasure by Chloe Blake. Oh my God. I've been standing in front of the camera a long time, or these lights at least. A Taste of Pleasure by Chloe Blake, and I'm about 50% into this one. I think I posted it incorrectly over on Instagram saying that I had gotten further along, but I looked at it when I was reading last night, a couple more chapters, and it's only about 50%. And this book follows Jenika and Tony. Jenika is a chef that was sleeping with her boss, was actually the ghost cook for this Michelin level restaurant, and then come to find out he was cheating on her, so she was like, I'm done, made a huge scene, walked out, and now her famous mother, who is a model, which is amazing, I'm loving that aspect of the story, that her mom is like, what did she say she was? She's a cross between Naomi Campbell and Grace Jones. I'm like, oh, I am so here for it. I'm here for it. I'm here for it. That's her mother, and her father is like a Swedish hippie, and so I'm thinking she is biracial, maybe. And then on top of that, she grew up sort of in Milan and has that whole Italian, or is Milan in Italy somewhere? I think it is. I had to take a geography test. But yeah, I'm loving that. And then Tony is a wine guy, a sommelier. I think that's how you pronounce it. But there is some Italian in this book that is kind of a little off-put because I don't speak Italian. So knowing exactly what they're saying, I am using the heck out of my Kindle translation thing, which means I'm killing my battery because I have to stay connected. But I'm off topic. And the two of them met when Jenika hosted or was the maid of honor at her best friend's wedding in Brazil, and Tony was the best man, so they had some interaction there. They had a one-night stand, and then that's when Jenika ends up, a year later, Jenika ends up breaking up with that guy that is the chef, or is the restaurateur, and then she ends up going with her mother over to Milan, where she ends up meeting Tony again, and finds out that Tony has a daughter, and they're exploring their relationship because Danika's mentor ends up getting sick, and she wants to take over, and that's where I'm at. Yeah. That's a lot of rambling that I just did right there. I will also be reading Evermore by Corinne Michaels as an arc. This is a novella back into the Salvation series. Yes. So excited. The novella is with the 1001 Dark Nights group, and I can't wait. You guys will be able to get it in 2 weeks or so, or 5 days next week. Next week sometime? Yeah, I think you guys will get it next week, but my review isn't due for a week and a half. But yeah, so I'm looking forward to jumping back into that. It is a novella, so I'll be able to rip through that later on this week. I am also going to be reading A Diary of a Bad Boy by Meghan Quinn as an arc, because I love Meghan Quinn. I have no expectations about what I'm going into. All I know is I'm going to love this book because, yeah, hopefully she doesn't disappoint me. Because, like I've said in other videos, there are some books that my favorite authors have disappointed me with. Hopefully this isn't one of those. So, update on my Romanceopoly sort of picks and things like that. I am not going to be doing the roll on the chart thing anymore. I'm just going to start building, just going around the board. I think that's going to be the simplest thing to do. Otherwise, I'm going to be rolling and then not reading, and yeah. Or I'm going to fit the books that I have read or will be reading into those slots type thing, just keeping in mind that I have Romanceopoly things to work out. I think that's going to make it a little bit quicker to get through the board and get it taken care of. I might do like a second round if I finish the board early. That was a long video, you guys, and I'm sorry if you stayed around and you're now mad because you've now spent 30 minutes or so watching me talk about books and my hair and everything else. But I appreciate you. I surely do, because this week I also hit 1,000 followers over on Instagram. Thank you very much. I'm glad you guys appreciate and like my bookish and personal content that I put up over there in pictures, because I love putting that stuff out there. Some people may be like, oh, that's invasive and that's invasion of privacy, and you know, you're showing so much of your life. I have so much of my life that you guys don't see, but those are the things that I want to put forth to you. So I appreciate you for following me. Thank you very much. Maybe you guys will start, you know, following me on Twitter as well. All that information's down in the description box, how you can follow me everywhere. There's actually a link down there for Voxer as well if you want to chat with me on a personal note, just letting you know that, without giving away too much personal information. Voxer. But yeah, that's it. Have you read any of the books that I just talked about? What do you think of my new hair? Let me know down in the comments. As always, if you enjoyed this video, please give me a big thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Also, there is a feedback form down in the description box so you guys can help me improve my channel. Thank you for watching, and we will see you guys later.